Unit 3, Section 5, Slope-Intercept Form and Standard Form. We're going to be able to write equations of lines in slope-intercept and in standard form. We're mainly going to practice putting them into slope-intercept. That'll be our best thing to use to graph them, but we will talk about standard form, what it means, and what it's good for. Okay? So, most linear equations are written in slope-intercept form or standard form. There's also another one called point-slope form, but really we just use point-slope form to get us into slope-intercept form. Okay? Excuse me. Slope-intercept form is a more simplified version and easier to graph version than point-slope form. But their names tell you what they give you. Slope-intercept form gives you the slope and the intercept. It looks like this. Y equals mx plus b. Okay? Where the m and the b are the important parts that are going to be numbers of some sort in the equation. The y and the x are variables that represent the coordinates for any point on the line that is represented by y equals mx plus b. So m is going to be the slope, and b is going to be the y-intercept. Okay, and this, the y-intercept, is where the graph crosses the y-axis. Okay. More information on the y-intercept. Good things to know. X is always 0. So 0, b. That's the y-intercept. X is always 0. So if you see a coordinate and x is 0, it's a y-intercept. It's on the y-axis somewhere. It could be used as your b. Given the graph, write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. Well, slope-intercept form, you need a slope and intercept. I can write a fill-in-the-blank here, where in front of the x is the m, and behind the x is the b. If you forget, let's put it right here, y equals mx plus b. Now, it's normally a plus b, but if b is a negative, positive times negative makes negative. It'll be a minus. So, let's look. Our slope is going upwards, so our slope is positive. We can count 1, 2, 3, 4 up, and 1, 2 over. So 4 up and 2 over is actually a slope of 2. And my y-intercept is right here. Now, the hard part about counting the y-intercept, it's always starting from this point. That is the point of reference. That is called the origin, sometimes symbolized by a little O right here. That is the point 0, 0. That is the origin. You always reference a point on a line or a point on this graph in reference to 0, 0. Remember, this is positive x, this is positive y, this is negative x, this is negative y. So I don't go anywhere left or right. I just go down 1, 2, 3. So that's at 0, negative 3. And here my x is 0. So my b is negative 3. So I'm just going to put that at the back. And that's the slope-intercept form. Okay? Once you get used to it, it goes a lot easier. Y equals something x and something. I'll do the b first this time. It's 2 down, so it's a negative 2, because that's the point 0, negative 2. And that's my b. But I need the slope. The slope is negative, so I'm going to put that on there already. I know it's that because it's going down. So let's see if we can count. See, 1, 2, 3, 4 down, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over. So it should be a negative 4/5. That's the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. Pictures of lines are way easier to write the equations of because you can find the intercept and you can find the slope. And you just plug them right in. I do it as a fill in the blank. This is at 0, 0. That's my b right there. Even the origin can be a y-intercept. It just means that you add 0. So that means there's nothing happening at the back. Right? If I wanted to, I could say, well, plus 0. And then I need my slope. Down 1. And then over 1, 2, 3. Negative 1/3. Well, negative 1/3 x plus 0 is just negative 1/3 x. So if you see an equation that doesn't have a b, it's actually there. It's just a 0. And they don't write the 0 because adding 0 doesn't change the value. Here's a couple of more, and now we have to graph them. And we can do the same thing. This is my b. Okay, that's my b. This is where I'm going to start. You're going to start there, -1. And this is how I'm going to move. How to move. It's my rate of change. I go up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bam. Okay, now let's talk about something. 5 over 4 and -5 over -4. Are they different? No, because -5 over -4, negative and negative makes positive. So I can actually even go down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and back 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that helps me create a better line to graph. Now, when you graph lines, put arrows on the end because those lines go forever. Okay, so don't forget the arrows. Okay, so let's look. This one is a negative. We're going to start here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to move like this. We're going to go, and that's a negative. Let's see, what would that be? That would be -1. -1, right? So down 1 over 1, because we can put it over 1. Down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. And we get a negative line. If your line doesn't go down when your slope's negative, you've graphed it incorrectly. Now let's talk about -1 over 1. Is it the same as 1 over -1? Yes, it is. So I could go up and back, or I can go down and right. Okay, either way is good. As long as I have one negative symbol, the whole fraction is negative. If I double it up, like we saw back over in the first one, it makes the whole thing positive, changes the line completely. Now here's 6, a little surpriser. Remember, if there's nothing behind it, you can always say, add 0. That's where I start. This is how I move. It needs to be a fraction. So start at 0, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. And 2 over 1 is the same thing as -2 over -1. I can go down 2, back 1, down 2, back 1, down 2, back 1. And I connect all the dots. The more dots you have, the easier it is to draw the line. Okay. Now let's talk about standard form. Standard form is AX plus BY equals C. Okay, and this is different than slope-intercept form, but only in how it appears. It's just been rearranged. Okay, it's just been rearranged. We can move all of that stuff around to get y by itself and get it into slope-intercept form. Okay, but because standard form doesn't give you the slope, you must be able to convert it into that. You can graph with these. You graph using what is called the intercepts. You would use both the x and the y-intercept. You plug in a 0 for x and divide by the thing in front of y, and you figure out where the y is on the y-axis. You put a 0 in for y. That gets rid of it. You divide by the a, and that tells you where the x-intercept is, something on the x-axis. It's a hard way to graph because it's not always the case that the intercepts are whole number pieces. Oftentimes they're fractions, and then they're hard to graph. So it's way easier if we just move everything around. So the idea is get the y by itself. So here in 7, we have x plus y equals 6. The a is a 1, the b is a 1, right? This is a different b than we did with the intercept. That's a lowercase b. This is a capital B. Okay, and standard form is usually ax plus by equals c. A and b are whole numbers, and a is always positive. And they're always on the same side, and c is on the other. But we want to change it. So if I'm adding x and I don't want to, I'm going to subtract x. So I equals -x plus 6. All it took was one move, and then I'm, bam, y equals mx plus b. I can even tell you my m is -1, and my b is 6. Now, 8's a little more different. We have to move the x, Okay, and remember it's 5x. Don't just move 5, it's 5x. So we got 2y equals negative 5x minus 2. And then we also have to divide by 2. Now, if we divide the left side by 2, everybody on the right side has to divide by 2. That's why the negative 5 and the negative 2 gets divided by 2. 2 divided by 2 reduces to 1, gives me y. 5 doesn't divide by 2, so I'm going to leave it negative 5 over 2x. Now, I can pull the x off to the side, and that's because of fractions. Negative 5 over 2 times x over 1. I do the x, and then I do the 2 times 1. Gives us the same thing. So you can always separate off a piece of that top fraction if they're multiplying. Now, 2 divided by 2 turns into a 1. Not 0, turns into a 1. Okay, so our answer there, and let's try number 9. You're always going to move the x part first. You always add, subtract away first. So if we move 2x, here's where you have to be careful. 2x minus 2x is 0, but there's already a minus on the 4y, so it's minus 4y. Don't drop your minus. Negative 2x plus 28. Why is it plus 28? Because that 28 is a positive. And I want the x in front, so it's like y equals mx plus b. Now I'm going to divide by negative 4. Y equals negative and negative makes positive. 2 divided by 4 is 1/2 x. And that's going to be a minus, and 28 divided by 4 is 7. Okay. Here's a couple more. Why don't you give it a shot, see what you can come up with, and come back and check the answers. All right, here we go. Moving the x first. Gets in a pattern. Negative y. Don't forget the y. It's already attached to that. If we're moving this piece, this part stays. Okay, so those scratch out, and we get negative 3x plus 5. And then, how do we get rid of the negative? Well, let's write the negative 1. So I'll divide by negative 1. Everybody. Those go. Y equals plus makes 3x minus 5. Move the 6x. 8y equals negative 6x minus 16. Divide by 8. Everybody. Y equals 2 goes into both. And 8 goes into 16 2 times. Move the x. Don't forget, that stays, okay? Negative 4y equals negative x. You can say plus 0, but you don't have to, but I'll just show you where it goes, right? And we get negative 4. So divide everybody by negative 4. Now remember, that's actually a 1x. Those go. Y equals negative negative makes positive, 1/4 x, and then 0 divided by 4 is 0, and 0 plus 1/4 x is still just 1/4 x, so I'm going to leave it right there. All right. Now we're going to graph each line, but they didn't give us the easy way first. So first we're going to move, then we're going to graph. So put it into slope-intercept form first. Minus x, negative 2y equals negative x plus 8. Divide by negative 2. Everybody, bloop, bloop, that's a 1. Those go. Y equals 1/2 minus 4. 1/2 x, don't forget the x. All right, so my b, this is where I start. This is how I move. All right, that's b, that's m. M for move. Start at negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. From 0, 0, from the origin, down 4. And then we're going to move up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. We can even do down 1, back 2, down 1, back 2. And it should make a nice straight line with arrows. Go ahead and give it a pause and try number 14. Come back and let's see how you did. All right, move that 3x first. 5y equals negative 3x plus 5. Divide by 5, everybody. Y equals negative 3/5 x plus 1. Start at 1. Down 3. 1, 2, 3 over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like an extra point, so I'm also going to do 3 over negative 5, which is going to be 1, 2, 3 up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back, and it should give me a nice straight line. If you ever don't have a straight edge to draw a straight line, just fold the edge of your paper up to where you need the line to go, match it on the edge of your dots, and then use the edge of the paper like a straight edge and make a straight line. Okay, so that's the first part of this slope-intercept form and standard form.